Hello, we are back at it again with a Beck reaction on their channel, Kind of Good, Kind of Beck. I just finished recording the second part to Amberlynn Reed's lies on her live stream that she did. I reacted to Salty Crabs because they put up like evidence, and also I just needed a buffer. But now, y'all, I'm kind of looking rough. I'm sorry, not to be Amberlynn, but I do be looking rough. Also, you can hear all the cars. Also sorry. But now we will watch Beck's reaction slash response to the non-accountability live stream that Amberlynn did called Blame Reversal 101 live stream. So this is gonna be good. Everything I say in this video is only representative of my opinion and experience. Any other claims are alleged by myself or others involved. Please be respectful to all parties. Take note, Amber.
Hey everyone. If you felt crazy after watching everything unfold last week, you're not alone. Trust me, I'm feeling it myself. There's been so much coming out. It's been really hard to keep up. Between reactions and live streams and the podcast with Casey and now Amber's last live stream on Thursday, it has just all been overwhelming.
This poor individual just trying to live their life, make some coin, and Amberlynn just out here being a menace to society.
Live was hard for me to watch. It brought up a lot of emotions I've had to confront. Her language, outlook, and how she twists everything was very triggering. And some of it was clearly an attempt to attack my character and discredit me and what I've said about her. Because of that, I had to comb through everything she said, take notes, and try my best to wrap my head around what was going on. Reaction channels have really helped so much with that, and it's difficult seeing so many people watch her lie about me and others while trying to manipulate the narrative. But they remember things even I don't remember sometimes, and getting the outside perspective has been...
I will say, that's one nice thing about reaction channels is that we really do have some type of memory for the Amberlynn bullshit. I think because it just all follows a pattern, so it's not hard to remember a lot of this stuff. But yeah, Beck, we got you.
Incredibly important and enlightening. I've been trying to keep myself from having to address her directly most of the time. I did consider making this video at her specifically, but when I was writing this, I found out that she wasn't who I wanted to talk to. I wanted to tell you what I thought and what I'm feeling. This is all really new to me. Yes, I've talked about our past relationship before, but not to the extent I have the last month or so. And I've been on YouTube in the past, but I've never had this amount of...
Oh, y'all, it's so loud. I'm sorry. I can't close the window fully because Dimitri's sitting out there sunbathing like the queen and king he is. But hopefully that helps a little bit.
Support behind me until recently. Now with more public support comes more attention and more expectations. I knew talking about her again would bring a lot of eyes my way, and I don't want to let anyone down, but I can't stand by and let fear stop me from talking about what I went through and bringing awareness to covert narcissism and mental emotion.
Different types of narcissistic personalities. Overt narcissism. Very high opinion of self, strong need for attention and admiration, 100% Amberlynn. Covert narcissism, shy and introverted, undermine others to feel superior. I think Amberlynn acts like that when she first meets people. She always claims, oh, I'm so shy, I'm so dainty, like blah, 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 but always makes little digs like to other people. I think that's like, yeah, whatever. Grandiose narcissism, attention-seeking behavior, manipulative, exploit others to achieve their goals. Also Amber, I mean, these are all Amber to be honest. Pathological narcissism, extreme levels of narcissism, often associated with mental health problems. Can you be more than one type of narcissist? Because Amberlynn kind of fits all of these, to be honest.
And financial abuse. All abuse survivors deserve to be advocated for, whether it is physical or psychological. Amber herself was...
Let's see, power and control. Physical, violence, sexual, technology and stalking, emotional and verbal abuse, using children, isolation, economic abuse, using intimidation, coercing and threats, minimizing, denying, blaming, using privilege, post-separation abuse. Okay, I mean, yeah, also most of that feels like Amberlynn.
Was a victim of abuse in her childhood, but she has continuously weaponized her trauma to manipulate people into getting her way in many different scenarios. Even now, she is doing that. trying to paint herself to look like as much of a victim as her own victims. She wants me to tuck my tail and run away from this like I've done before, but I won't be doing that.
Yeah, I think Amber Lynn fully expected to be able to put that live stream out, just bashing the shit out of Beck, making that, like, making them seem as though they're just this lying, using, like, gross person, and that Beck would just, you know, shy away and say, oh, well, I got kind of thing. And what it really did is just show who Amber Lynn is, and kind of furthered, I think, people's feeling of sadness and, like, yeah, sadness that Beck had to deal with this for almost 5 years.
This time. First, I want to say that I understand if Amber has maybe swayed your opinion of me. It's so easy to get swept up in her confusion and manipulate.
I actually don't think most people, I don't think really anyone, I'm sure there's a few Ann babies out there, but I don't think anyone, for the most part, took that live and thought, like, I think people saw right through Amber Lynn. Amber Lynn is not a good manipulator in a lot of ways. She's not intelligent enough to lie and manipulate and, like, change the narrative the way she thinks she can. Like, we saw throughout the whole live, like, she smirked and, like, had this little I got you, like, you know, smile. I know it's called something, y'all, I know, tell me in the comments. I know there's a term for it. But she had that the entire time because she truly thought that she was outsmarting everyone. She truly thought that she got Beck and that all of us were going to sit there and go, oh my God, Amber, we're so sorry that we ever said any of this. And again, all it showed was Amber's ass, not Beck's.
I was swept up in it for many years, and you don't have to like me to still hold Amber and people like her accountable publicly for the harm that they cause. I will link some videos in the description for channels that really helped me make sense of this whole mess. But I just ask that you give me a chance to make some points before forming your whole opinion. It has been difficult to understand and tell my truth because this has all been so messy and emotional from the beginning with Amber.
Yeah.
Secondly, I want you to keep in mind two things that I've learned about while trying to make sense of what I went through. Darvo is a manipulation tactic often used by narcissists and abusers when confronted about their behaviors and actions.
Okay, Darvo is deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. So, that's literally the entire lie. That is what Amber did. Denied the major allegations that Beck had come out with, attack Beck's character and who they are as just a person, and then reverse victim and offender, act as though Amber Lynn was the victim in these things. Oh, I didn't have an account or access to the account. I was just paying for everything. It turns out that, like, they were just using me for money. They called me a fat bitch. They said fuck to me. Like, it's literally this. It's so clear that Beck has been seeing a therapist and to help them heal. I'm sure probably for other things as well. But, like, they definitely have been working on healing from Amber Lynn and, like, the abuse that they went through. Because, like, yeah, this is exactly what Amber Lynn did.
I stands for downplaying or minimizing severity of actions, deny it happened, reject responsibility for it, or refuse to acknowledge it. Attack means attacking credibility, character, or motivations and exaggerating or lying, counter accusations to divert attention from them.
Crazy.
Reverse victim and offender, twisting the narrative to make them the real victim of abuse, casting blame onto someone else to regain control, and manipulating emotions to get sympathy or pity. And the narcissist prayer, coined by Dana Craig, used to demonstrate the...
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. They know their shit. Okay. For those who aren't, I don't know if they're going to read this, but I'm going to read it anyways. That didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if it did, you deserved it. Yeah, that was also Amber Lynn's entire tactic.
way the narcissist thinks about their actions. That didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. I think for someone who claims to not be a narcissist and to only have a few narcissistic traits, these patterns are very similar, if not exactly what she's done and is doing now. However, I don't want you guys to believe I am some perfect victim of Amber Lynn Reid. I'm not and have never been perfect before her or after. She continues to say that everyone believes I'm all good and she is all bad. She acts as if I've never been criticized in the past or now. But the truth is...
The thing is, like, Amber Lynn, the reason that she talks that way is because that's what she wants people to think of her. But people don't. So she thinks that, like, if anyone doesn't like her or calls out her actions and people are like empathizing with Beck in the situation that they went through, that like, well, I want everyone to view me as all good and Beck all bad, but they're not doing that. They're siding with Beck, so they must view Beck as all good and I'm all bad. And that's just not the case. That really is just not the case. Beck has done shitty things, absolutely. But they've also, again, taken accountability. And I think will continue to take accountability for things that they have misremembered or the things they did, their actions, whatever it may be. They've never shied away from that. It's Amber Lynn who at every turn shies away from taking NT accountability. I don't know why I said NT, whatever. I was going to go on a tangent, but like any accountability whatsoever. So it's really just like telling on herself that that's how she wants to be viewed. So when she's not, she assumes that's how the other person is being viewed. She ain't that smart, y'all.
Has never been able to take criticism and still can't handle it. Anyone who has ever had something to say about the crappy things that she has done is against her and has it all wrong. And it is not just to me, but all of her exes and the majority of her audience and the YouTube community, including reaction channels past and present. On the subject of not being perfect, reactive abuse exists within personal relationships, and I'm sure that I've said some inappropriate or mean.
Okay. What is reactive abuse? Reactive abuse is a common manipulation tactic that places blame for abuse onto the abused. It's commonly associated with gaslighting, as the tactic aims to convince or rewrite the story, claiming the abuser is actually a victim. This is also used by narcissists, as they often will play the role of the victim when they are being faced with consequences for their actions. Literally, it's like they're writing about Amber Lynn. Like, Amber Lynn is 100% a narcissist. Holy shit, dude. This is like actually so crazy to me.
Things to Amber. During fights and arguments, a lot of sensitive things were being brought up, and I can't remember now the things I said, but we were having long-lasting problems in our relationship because of her continued behavior and our situation. Reactive abuse doesn't mean that you're not being abused. I may not remember saying at least my family didn't do drugs.
Why is reactive abuse so effective for abusers? When a true victim reacts to abuse, the abuser may use these reactive outbursts against the victim, sometimes even as blackmail or to gaslight them into believing that they are the true abusers. It gives the abuser evidence, disregarding the abuse they actually initiated. Literally what Amber Lynn was doing. Oh, look at this text that Beck said to keep my name out of their fucking mouth. Look at, they said that at least my family didn't do drugs, giving absolutely no context as to where this came from. Like, wants us to just believe that Beck is just saying all this shit. Oh, look, Beck called me a fat bitch. Again, disregarding the 4 years of abuse, the 4 years of like mental hell that you put them through. But you're going to give us little snippets about, I'm sure, ways that Beck was pushed. Not saying that it's okay, because it's not okay to say those things, but we all do and have said shitty, grotesque things when we get pushed to our limits. And again, it's not an excuse, but it's an understanding as to why that happens. But Amber Lynn uses it as evidence. See, I'm actually the victim in it, not Beck. They said these bad things to me. Okay, well, what caused them to say those things to you? You know, like, we know that you weren't just sitting there, like, minding your own business, living your best life, and Beck's just coming in and saying these things to you out of nowhere. What was the lead up to these things? We know that you would keep Beck for hours and hours in an argument until you felt like they finally bent to your narrative of the situation, until you got what you wanted. You literally put them through mental exhaustion just in fights. The negative reaction is taken out of context and used against the victim, which is a way to silence or control them. Literally what Amber Lynn was attempting to do in her live. This is so crazy. This woman is like a straight up narcissistic abuser, like full force.
But that is not representative of my true feelings then or now. I have my own family members, my sister and my aunt, who struggled with their own addictions. My sister's been in recovery for 20 years, and we sadly lost our aunt. I really don't think I would have said those things, but it was a long time ago, and I can't
again,
be sure.
Like, if Beck said those things, again, it's bad, and I'm sure that we're gonna hear them say that that's not okay, but you have to think too, what is it that Amber Lynn said about Beck's family to have the, and I quote from Amber Lynn, well, at least my family didn't do drugs. That is a response onto someone else saying something shitty about their family. So what is it that you said to Beck about their family for them to have that reaction to you? Of course, Amberlynn doesn't want us to know that, right? Because I'm sure, again, Amberlynn's going to be coming out looking like the jackass.
Or what I said or what she was saying to me before that happened.
Right.
She showed no proof, and I don't have any either.
Yeah.
But regardless, conflict can be used by toxic people who love to push and bring you down to their level.
Yeah.
They do this to make you feel that they are not the problem, and instead, you are both the problem. Amber, I want to remind you that I would have never been on YouTube.
Abusers love to use that. Oh, well, it's not just me. Yeah, we're both a problem. I mean, does it take two to tango? Up to a point. Up to a point. But you can't abuse someone and then say, well, we're both the problem. No, you're an abuser. That's a big ass problem, my dude.
If it wasn't for you putting me on your channel to begin with.
Yep.
I wouldn't have talked to Karina last year if you wouldn't have still been talking about me.
Yep.
I probably wouldn't have ever come back to my channel if you had not continued talking about
Yep.
me. And now I'm back and I don't know what I'm doing, but our audience is intertwined and you can't pretend that there isn't years of evidence showing your pattern of abusive behaviors toward every single one of your exes.
And what's crazy is it's on Amberlynn's channel. Like, yes, people have done a lot of like synopsis of these things and like compilations, but at the end of the day, Amberlynn's abuse of all of her girlfriends that she has posted online or significant others is sitting there on Amberlynn's channel and she's monetizing it. That's the craziest part to me, is she's monetizing the abuse of every single one of her partners. But then wants to act like there's no evidence to her abusing. This is all just speculation. Dude, no, it's literally on your channel.
I don't know where to start, so I'm going to just do what she couldn't do and list out exactly what she lied about in this live stream. Number 1, Amber claimed she never talked about me after the proposal story on her channel. Yeah. Except she did. Right. She made another video with my name in the title a couple weeks later. She talked about me on her Instagram stories and in her Q&As and in the comments of other people's live streams and videos. She even talked about me to people in her private life, according to Alexis, but I care less about that. The online stuff she knew people would see.
Yeah, I mean, look, you want to talk about someone in your private life, go for it. I think that's anyone's right. However, to claim that you just stopped talking about Beck in public is just a straight up lie, and we all know it. There's just so much evidence of you continuing for years about not shutting up about Beck.
How many times now has she said she is done talking about me or the situation and then talks about it again? I've lost
Currently.
Number 2, she says she couldn't access the joint bank account that she had a card to with her name on it. Yeah. I will continue to get into this more when
it says, except she still had access to the account. Right. Amberlynn apparently didn't have access to the account, couldn't see how much money was in the bank account, but said, you need to go get your own bank account. You need to get off this bank account. I'm going to keep this bank account. But you don't apparently, according to you, Amberlynn, you didn't have access to the account. So why would you stay on an account that you didn't have access to? That doesn't make sense, Amber. And I didn't even catch that, like, when I was reacting to that part in the salty crab reaction video. But, like, yeah, that in itself, like, Amberlynn contradicts her own lies because she can't keep them straight. Like, I think it's twofold. I don't think she's intelligent enough to make a believable lie and really form a story that makes sense. And 2, she lies so much that she can't keep track of the lies. It's like, it's a double-edged sword for Amberlynn. Like, it will always end bad. People will always see through it because of those two factors going on.
Of her financial abuse later in this video. Same with buying me a car. Number 3, Amber said that I claimed to never have met Jade or Libby. That just isn't true. Yeah. There is evidence of me saying I met Jade before, as well as videos of me being in the same room as Jade. Yep. Libby, I did say that I never met, but that's because I'm pretty sure we never did meet in person. There's a video of me sitting with Amber and talking while she was on You Now with Libby. I did not meet Libby. I knew of Libby as a friend of Amber's she knew while with Destiny. Number 4.
To me, that's also really weird because Libby is a childhood friend of Destiny's, not Amberlynn's. Like, the reason that Amberlynn met Libby is because sorry, there's like, I hear cats going on over there. But the reason that Amberlynn met Libby is because the roommate that Destiny and Amberlynn moved in with was the sister of Libby. And Destiny grew up with those girls. Like she went to school with them. They grew up like across the street kind of thing. Like they were hanging out all the time. They were like sisters. And so then when Libby, like the roommate left, Libby kept hanging out with Destiny and Amberlynn. And yes, it's weird for that Amberlynn was hanging out with Libby because Amberlynn was 25, 26 at the time and Libby was 15. But I don't think it's weird that Destiny wanted to hang out with Libby. Like Destiny was 19 when they started dating and 20 when, like, for the majority of the stuff that we saw. She grew up with Libby. Like, it's not weird. Like it was very obvious that Destiny viewed Libby as a little sister. So it's not weird that they wanted to hang out. But it's weird the way that Amberlynn would interact with Libby. So it's weird then after they broke up that Amberlynn continued to interact with a person that was significantly younger than you, that you had no real relationship with, besides the fact that it was your ex-girlfriend's friend. That's weird, Amber.
She says that Eric and Ricky told her that I admitted to using her for money and called her a fat fucking bitch. And I know some of you really wanted that last part to be true, but I truly do not remember saying those things to Eric or Ricky. I did complain about Amber sometimes, but I never made fun of Amber's weight or body, even after the breakup.
This also says, just in case you're not watching, but honestly, everyone was talking crap about each other. Yeah, I believe it in that household. Also, we know Eric and Ricky, especially Eric, like to stir shit up. Like, we saw what happened with the whole Rafe and Amber situation. Eric was sitting over there talking shit about Amberlynn with Rafe and then runs back to Amberlynn and says, oh, Rafe's talking shit about you, and caused that whole, like, live stream drama that we saw with Amberlynn just, like, again being a classist bitch towards Rafe and, like, their home and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, like, we saw that happen, and that was because of Eric. Eric started all of that, and, like, I think enjoyed 100% that whole thing.
And why would I admit to using Amber for money if that's what I was doing? It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
Eric and Ricky are also notorious gossips, and they love the drama. They told me back when we were still talking that my own sister and Logan were talking crap about me behind my back, and they weren't. Number 5.
Interesting.
Amber claimed to have told me many times to go get a job if I was so bored, and that she supported me in working or starting my own business. She also said that I only ever Ubered twice. That was a lie. Right. I drove for Uber when I could, off and on, even after the breakup. Buying me some art supplies doesn't equal being supportive of me working and having a job. Nope. She admits herself in this live stream that she was controlling of my time and never wanted me to leave her alone. Which is it, Amber? Was I allowed to leave to work, or did I always need to be with you? Number 6.
Dude, Beck does not give a fuck. You can feel the sass coming out. I love it.
People in her live that I said we weren't friends after the breakup, and that isn't entirely true. On my channel, I've said before that we hung out after the breakup, but that after I moved out, we were only friendly.
Okay, in this part, she also mentions, I told her to lie about us being friends with each other. I actually did forget about this happening, and I will address this when I get the screenshots. Okay, cool.
We rarely saw each other unless I was dealing with my stuff at the apartment, and sometimes we were with mutuals. She continued to reach out to me every once in a while.
It also took me a long time to come to terms with everything that happened. As much as I needed space, I knew a part of me was still allowing her to be in my life in some ways because I couldn't accept the whole truth for a long time. Yeah, I mean, we saw even the way that, like, when they first did, like, a very little, like, synopsis of their experience in the relationship with Amberlynn in the very beginning after the breakup. Beck, I still, like, you could tell they still weren't, like, they still hadn't processed that they were in an abusive, narcissistic relationship. Like, and even, like, in the breakup stream, like, Beck cried and said, like, I love her and I know what you guys think of her, but, like, I love her and I know who she is. Like, Beck was very much still entwined. And so that shit takes a long time and a lot of separation to fully come to terms with the fact that, like, you were abused by a narcissist for a very long time. And, like, you were made to think things that were okay when they were not okay. And, like, that things were normal when they weren't normal, you know?
And I continued to keep the peace when I had to because I still had people and stuff connected to her.
Right.
Number 7. She lies about giving me her doctor's appointment slot for our psychiatrist because she was so worried for me. I don't understand.
That wasn't in the salty crab video. However, I do remember this. Amber Lynn said that she was so worried about Beck one time. This was when Beck was really in like the catatonic state. That she was so worried about Beck that she called the psychiatrist and told them to give Beck the slot. People were questioning that at the time that was happening. That's not how that works. You can't do that. Like, that's just not how that's not how doctor's appointments work. You can't just like, you don't get that say. Like, yeah, that was always a very weird thing that Amber Lynn tried to lie about. And we didn't really see her talk about it much ever again, I guess, until this live stream. But that was something I never really believed in, and I always thought was weird. And obviously we can tell what Amber Lynn's trying to do, like trying to make it seem like they're just this like amazing, selfless person. But like, it's such a stupid lie. It's once again Amber Lynn thinking that no one lives in the real world. No one is like a grown adult who like knows how these things work, you know, so she can lie about them.
Stand this one, or even why she thought that's how doctor appointments work.
Right.
But I will bring this up again when I talk about my health history.
I just don't remember this happening. To be fair, this was obvious when I was, I'm guessing obviously, when I was severely over-medicated. She said she has text of it. So if it did happen, I would like to see them. Yeah, I think everyone would like to see that.
Later in this video. Number 8. Amber dances around implying that I pressured her for sex by asking her to be in a relationship.
Which is gross.
You have no idea how nauseated I felt hearing that. I'm going to be going into more details and
It's crazy that Amber Lynn really wants all of us to believe that she is so wanted that people are just coercing her for sex all the time. Ever since she was a little kid, people are just coercing her for sex. It's really bizarre. Even to this day, Amber Lynn will not shut up about everyone is just flirting with her. Everyone wants to be with her. Amber Lynn, I just don't believe this to be true. Truly, I do not believe this to be true. Like, it's this, like, once again, you want to feel so desired, so wanted. You want to feel like this hot little bombshell that you just aren't, Amber. And, like, no one is buying that. Everyone is just fawning over you because you're not cute. No offense, but you're not cute. You're not desirable. People do not look at you and see desire, okay? You are a fetish, which is unfortunate, but you are a fetish. At your size, I'm not saying people can't like bigger women, but you are past the being a bigger woman. You are so morbidly obese, so grotesquely overweight and unhealthy that like, it's not cute anymore. Like, you are a walking time bomb at this point. Like, people don't look at you and see a person they can build a life with. And then if they do get to know you, your personality shines very bright, very fast. It is not a good personality. You are a shitty person. So on top of just being a person that physically you can't build a life with or do anything with, on top of it, you have a disgusting personality. So I don't know who the hell is fawning over this woman.
The whole story of that night. Number 9, claims she never saw the settlement money and that, quote, it just went into the joint account. I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah.
Number 10, she lied and said that she took the joint debit card away from me because Jade was uncomfortable. That card was only attached to the joint account we shared that originally was my account. And by that time, she already had a separate private account with the same bank that all of her money was going into. Number 11.
I believe that.
Amber also lied about free bleeding, about how long I helped her wipe, how often I brushed her hair, and how often she showered. And then she also read out a chat about...
So again, I didn't see this in the salty crab fully, but she did mention a few times like, oh, it was only 9 months. Beck's lying about how long it was, blah, blah, blah.
Us both having hygiene issues. But I will once again get more into that in another section.
Okay.
Next, I will address the screenshots that she did.
Editing note, Amber didn't show these screenshots as photos on screen, so I couldn't read a lot of what she said in her text. I had to just type out what she read out loud in her live stream. I put those notes on screen and read them verbatim, I'm guessing. So if it doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. A equals Amber, B equals Beck. Me.
Show in her live stream and the situation surrounding them from what I remember. Screenshot A, Stop Talking Crap, September 7th, 2022. Prior to this, I had made a video on my channel that briefly mentioned Amber.
Yeah.
I watched a Karina video and talked about it. I mentioned past relationships, and when I brought up Amber, I said something like, there were good and bad times. And she made a video shortly after that, on September 6th, that talked in length about my proposal to her. In her video, she belittled me again and talked badly about me, making the whole thing sound like something she never wanted and was below her. Apparently, I sent her this text the next day. B, last effing warning. Stop talking about me. All you do is talk about me, and I just want to forget you and all the bullshit. I will stop being silent if you don't, and I'm not the only one who has a lot to say about you. Final effing warning. Take my name out of your mouth, and I will get the law involved.
Yeah.
I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. It was a little over a year after the breakup, and I just had enough. If I didn't see when she would post something about me, someone was sending it to me, and in those moments, I just wanted nothing to do with her anymore. I'd finally broken up with her and gotten away, and I needed time to be left alone. Scream wanted nothing to do with her anymore. I'd finally broken up with her and gotten away, and I needed time to be left alone.
Okay, I just want to add that even though we were technically friends, she has a pattern of staying friends, quote unquote, with her exes until they can't handle it anymore. Sure, we saw each other occasionally, but I really wanted to keep my distance as much as I could. Yeah, and I said that in my reaction to this. It's like Amber Lynn does this with every single friend, like ex. She claims that they're still best friends. They see each other all the time. Like, you know, they're still amazing, because I think in the back of Amber Lynn's mind, it's a way for her to keep them close and for them to not essentially expose the fact that Amber Lynn abused them. So she thinks that if she can keep them as friends, she can keep them on the hook, then Amber Lynn's secret of being an abuser will be, you know, like kept. But it just never happens, because Amber Lynn is a demanding partner, yes, but she's also a demanding friend. And every single one of her friends has inevitably left her because she's been too demanding.
Screenshot B, the banking.
Yeah.
A, how much money is in the bank account? B, sends screenshot of account that both of them had access to. She doesn't show a date for when this was, but it seems like it is before she opened her private account with the same bank. I want to reiterate that when we got together...
I also think it's very interesting that she didn't show the two texts before. She says it's because it's something personal. I don't think it is. I think because it shows exactly like the context of this, and she doesn't want there to be any context. That was the entire like common thread through this whole live stream of Amber Lynn's, was she refused and deliberately chose to not show context for any of the stuff. She wants there to be a seed of doubt, because if there's context, it will actually go the way and prove the things that Amber Lynn wants to prove with these half-truths.
Only I had a bank account. She asked to deposit the money she would make from YouTube into my account because she did not have her own. So this is the only time that she was not able to see what was in the account or access it herself. I don't remember exactly when we went to the bank, but it was around 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. That day, she opened her own private account and also officially had her name put on mine, making my account the joint account that...
So that's, like, that to me is very weird, that Amber Lynn had her own account, but then also put her name onto Beck's account. That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, if someone has an answer for that, can you let me know? Because, like, to me, that just, like, screams control and, like, red flag.
We both had access to. Eventually, she had her YouTube checks directly depositing into her private account.
That makes
sense. But when it was in the joint and when it wasn't hers, she had full access to both. I only had a card for the joint account that was originally mine.
Right.
After quitting my job and slowly becoming her full-time caretaker, I had no money of my own going into the account. But nothing was spent without her knowing about it or being the one to spend it herself. Screenshot.
Because, like, again, do you really think Beck would be able to sneak in things? Like, be so real. And also, Beck was never alone for the most part. Amber Lynn was there next to Beck all the time. So what is Beck going and buying that Amber Lynn doesn't know?
B.2 Banking. September 2nd, 2021. Only a couple months after breakup, June 19th, 2021. A, you need to open your own bank account. Just open a new one. I'm going to keep this one for now. I need you to start using your own money for Reactive and stuff. Plus, when I pay you on this 22nd, I don't want you using this bank account anymore.
She's so gross.
B, then go to the effing bank with me. So I believe that this was when she was urging me to open a new account and take myself off the joint account. That, again, used to be my account. but I'm pretty sure that I needed her to go with me to the bank
Yeah.
to make these changes to the account.
Right.
And I just wanted to say also that it's weird that the way she shows these screenshots, I can't read them myself.
Because, like, you can't just close the bank account because then, like, we don't, like, the bank doesn't know if, like, the both of them are agreeing to this, you know? Like, what if you have, like, millions of dollars in this bank account? I mean, even, like, a few $1,000s in this bank account, and one day you just close it and make it so that the other person can't get it. That it's a way to protect both of the people in the account. So, like, you have to go in and, like, sign that, like, I'm pretty sure this is how it works, that you both agree to closing this account, or that you both agree that this one person's going to leave the account, you know? Like, but again, Amberlynn doesn't really understand how the real world works. So she, from her, like, 6th grade mindset and, like, 6th grade understanding of the world, is lying because she thinks that, like, that's how things work. And she thinks that everyone else thinks at a 6th grade level like she does. Which is why, again, she's a bad liar.
And she reads them out loud. But in some, she doesn't read it directly. It just throws the doubt around. I also want to add that I think the thing that she marked out was weed, and I don't care if people know that I used to smoke.
Yeah.
I did care once upon a time, but that's all I could think of that might be redacted in that message. And I think maybe why she said this is because she might have bought me a vape or some at some point.
All right.
Screenshot C, line to audience, April 17th, 2022. A, I am literally getting harassed because people think I lied about us still being friends. Why can't I just tell them I wasn't lying? This sucks so bad. B, it's best they don't know. As sad as it is, that would kill my channel. I do not want them knowing. It will be an even bigger, more messy thing. Mm-hmm. I'm going to address that I saw you and gave the rings, but we don't hang out, dude. That's just how...
That's another thing. Beck is saying right here, we don't hang out, dude. So, like, are we really friends? Sure. Like, I talk to you. We interact at time to time when, like, the both of us are, like, going to the same event of Eric and Ricky's kind of thing, event. But, like, they weren't hanging out. They weren't kikiing with each other. But Amberlynn has a really, like, diluted way of thinking about, or delusional way of thinking about friendship. She really believes that, like, if you text once or you hang out once, you're best friends. Like, you guys are lifelong friends, the best of friends. Like, that's really how Amberlynn views it. Like, she views it in a very, like, elementary way, like, friendship in a very elementary way, because I don't think she has really ever had genuine friends. Like, I don't think she's ever had a genuine friendship with anyone that's lasted for more than 5 years, if that. So, like, to Amberlynn probably genuinely thought, even though she was treating Beck like absolute shit at the time, probably genuinely thought they were friends. And Beck's sitting here like, I'm nice to you because we interact with the same people, but I'm not friends with you. We don't hang out,
Has to be. That's what they have to know. YouTube is my only income, and I'm only getting like $200.
Yeah.
Amber adds that I said that I had a job even though I didn't. A, what about the backlash I'm getting for lying even though I'm not lying? B, if this comes out, it would be even less. Amber adds that this was about money. A, I'm choosing you over myself. B, you should have said nothing at all. Amber didn't say that part. B, I lost my job. Okay, this is the big one I know a lot of people wanted me to address. Amber says that I completely denied being friends after our breakup. I didn't deny being friends with her entirely in
my live stream was recent, however, I do think I probably said we were not in contact in my older videos on my channel. Yeah, I believe that they also said that. But again, like, to an extent, I understand, but...
live stream. But I didn't say we were friends because I did not see us as friends.
Right.
I explained that we did see each other in passing when I needed to go to the apartment where some of my things still were, whenever she asked me to do something for her, and while being with mutual friends. Right. To explain the screenshot, Amber mentioned me in a different video and told the audience that we were still friends at that time. This is why I said you should have said nothing at all, which she convinced.
Well, this is the thing, like, the reason that people were like, I think why Amberlynn brought it up is because people were, like, commenting on the fact that Amberlynn was treating Beck like shit. Like, during the relationship and afterwards. And Amberlynn, of course, trying to, like, paint herself as something else, and, like, change the narrative. Was like, oh, no, like, Beck and I are, like, really good friends still. Because, like, her way of thinking is, well, if we're friends still, then I'm clearly not treating them bad, so I can continue this behavior. I think that's the reason why Amberlynn brought it up.
Did not read out loud, except I didn't consider us to be really friends at the time, and I didn't want her talking about me on her channel. I was scared of the audience, the haters, and the fans of Amber. I didn't want my channel to be all about her, and I didn't want to give her or anyone else any reason to talk about me. Instead of telling her, no, Amber, I'm not your friend, I asked her not to say that we were friends. I had forgotten that I sent a message like that. So when I denied her lying for me, I didn't remember the assistance, and forgetting that is on me. But she wants to make this out to be an example of her.
And that's accountability, Amber. That's on them for not remembering that. But it happened, and they're not going to deny it. It happened.
Always lying to her audience for me and to spare me and protect me. That just isn't the case.
No.
I believe she's only bringing this up because I admitted to lying in her videos for her on different occasions. I want to apologize to my audience for not being honest with you all at that time. I'm sorry that I was still afraid of being authentic and genuine with you all. I thought that if I could just ignore Amber in girl world, that would be the safest path. I hope I can prove to you I have learned from those experiences. And
again, that's accountability, Amber. That's an apology, Amber. Something that we have yet to see you do. Not even close to something like this. And this is for something minor. So, take note, Amber.
Changed. I also want to apologize for my memory loss. I know Amber said herself that she has bad memory, and I'm sure that it was just an additional thing to muddy the waters of what was real and what wasn't. But I do wish I had more proof for you. Obviously, there are years of videos out there, and I rely on people bringing things to my attention a lot of the time when it comes to
and
stuff.
also, like, we know that Beck isn't, when they say there's holes in their memory of certain periods, we know that's true because we saw them. They were not there. Like, their body was there, but their mind was, they were so overdrugged, they could barely, like, move at a normal pace. Like, they were so out of it. But Amberlynn wants to use trauma, something that we don't know anything really about, something that most people are not going to question, as a way for every time something doesn't make sense or she doesn't really have details to things. Oh, well, I just have bad memory because of trauma. It's just an excuse for Amberlynn. Like, there's no real way to, like, know if it's true or not.
Publicly. However, I deleted all of our messages, texts, and other things. I didn't want to look at them anymore. I didn't want to read them or...
Yeah, and I don't blame you. Like, I had the same thing happen with a person that I was in an abusive relationship with. The moment that I left and I fully understood like what I had been through, I deleted every single thing of theirs. I deleted all their photos. I blocked them on everything. Like, I did not want to see their name. Like, it's just seeing their name was like so triggering for me and like would make me so pissed off. So, like, yeah, I understand that, like, wanting to delete everything. I think that's a very normal reaction after you've realized that you've been abused.
Them or think about them. They're gone, unfortunately, so I can't debunk or even look at the rest of the conversation for the screenshots she shows. During our relationship, I lacked a lot of independence and self-agency. I did a lot for her, but I couldn't get myself to do anything for me. I was depressed, and it was only getting worse the longer our relationship went on. She was dependent on me and wanted me to be...
Signs of codependency. A tendency to do more than your share all the time. Fear of losing relationship/abandonment. An overwhelming need to be reassured and recognized. A compelling desire to control others. Fear of rejection. A tendency to apologize to keep the peace. Problem with creating and keeping boundaries. Difficulty making decisions, dishonesty, doing things you don't want to do to make others happy, poor communication in relationships. Yeah.
Dependent on her too. Codependence is hard to break out of. I slipped into it so quickly, I didn't realize I had lost all agency for myself. And then once I was in it was too difficult to stand on my own again.
Yeah, I've had a codependent relationship as well, and you really lose yourself. Now, like, my codependent relationship wasn't abusive at all. It was just two people going through a difficult time, kind of like trying to hold on to each other to like gain stability. But nonetheless, like, you really lose yourself inadvertently in a codependent relationship because you're so scared of losing this other person that you have become so dependent on. And it took me years to like really like rediscover the things that I love and like to do, and just like who I am as a person and my interests and like what I like and don't like. It's like, it's really difficult. So like to be in a codependent relationship with someone that is abusing you on top of it and is a narcissist on top of it, I can't imagine the loss of self you have in that.
I've seen people compare it to boiling a lobster or crab. You put them in the water first and slowly raise the heat so they don't realize they are being cooked. Things Amber admitted to. Number 1, She admitted to being mean and rude and talking down to me in videos and behind the
Which is like the bare minimum that Amberlynn could admit to. Like, you fully abuse this other individual, and like to say, oh well, I was being mean and rude, that's like, no, you were being mean and rude to your sister. Like, you were abusing a whole individual. Like, it's not a cute little mean and rude, you know, like, you're not children.
But she didn't admit that this was a form of public humiliation
Right.
that I believe she used to control me and keep my self-esteem
Absolutely
low. Number 2, Amber said that she was horrible to Destiny. No shocker there, but I do wonder why she kept saying she wasn't going to.
Again, I don't think I saw this in the Salty Crab, but I mean, it was obvious. Like, Destiny even talked about this, and I think the only reason Amberlynn is admitting to this is because Amberlynn knows that Destiny's going to be coming out with more shit, and probably like more damning shit than they've already said about Amber. But I mean, it was obvious. We saw all again, like they did, like she did with Beck, constantly belittling Destiny, making fun of Destiny's interests. Like, you could see so quickly Destiny get just so irritated with Amberlynn, just so over it, like would get frustrated with Amberlynn so easily. And I can only imagine what was happening behind the scenes for Destiny to just be like so annoyed all the time with Amberlynn. We also saw Amberlynn made Destiny do everything. In the Beck era, Amberlynn attempted to hide this a lot better, like a lot more, make it seem like, oh, she's doing all these things. She wasn't, but like she wanted us to believe it. But in the Destiny era, Amberlynn did not hide the fact that Destiny did absolutely everything for Amberlynn. Like, Amberlynn wouldn't even go up and get her own drinks, like wouldn't even go up and like make herself dinner. Really, it wasn't until she started making soups that Amberlynn like really would make her own meals. But like, for the first half of the relationship, Destiny would make every single meal for Amberlynn, and like to the point that like Destiny wasn't even making food for herself. It was just for Amberlynn. Like, everything. Amberlynn wouldn't get out of the car to do anything, would like barely go into stores, and if she did, would go in onto the scooter. It was everything. And on top of it, for the beginning of the relationship, Amberlynn was fully dependent on Destiny's income. This 19-year-old kid, a 25-year-old comes in, essentially makes Destiny become Amberlynn's slave, and on top of it is financially dependent on this 19-year-old kid. It was such a grotesque relationship.
Talk about Destiny in this live stream. I can only guess. Number 3, admits to buying love and attention from partners and friends, yet doesn't admit to financial abuse at all. No. Amber, there is a difference between being generous and holding things over people's heads as leverage because you paid for something.
Yeah, and the thing is, with that, Destiny also said that, like a year or two, whenever that like whole spilling the tea stuff came out, Destiny said multiple times, that is what Amberlynn does. Yes, she gives a lot of money, but it's for a purpose. It's not because Amberlynn's just this generous, nice person. It's because later on, she believes that because she did this thing for you, because she gave money, she's able to control you and your actions and your opinions and the way that you do things and the way that you treat Amberlynn. And if she doesn't see fit, well, she says, well, I did this for you, so you need to behave the way I want you to behave. It's insanely manipulative and controlling.
Number 4, Amber says that she went through my phone a lot because of trust issues, but then shows journal entries to, in her eyes, prove that I did read her journals.
Right.
First, I never said that she didn't let me read any of her physical journals. I said that she wouldn't let me go through her phone because she said there were private journals on it. Yet she says that I could read her journals anytime and she wouldn't have cared if I looked at her phone, but that I never really had asked her anyway. Number 5. She admits that she does not feel that I was abusive towards her. Yeah. But then why do all of this, Amber? Number 6.
Exactly. That's the thing is, like, people, like, she started saying all of this shit, like, right off the bat to the live. And then immediately someone asks, like, do you feel like Beck abused you? And Amber goes, no, I don't think Beck abused me. I just think we both did shitty things. So then why are you painting out Beck as the abuser in this? While you sit there and take bare minimum amount of less than bare minimum accountability of anything. You're sitting there trying to paint Beck as this horrible abusive person to you. It was so confusing.
She admits to being manipulative toward me and others to get what she wants out of them.
I mean, she's also admitted this I don't remember when, but she's admitted it a few times because Beck was saying in the live stream, that's when it was, in the live stream, Beck was saying, like, you're manipulative. And Amberly's like, don't say that or else I could say that you're manipulative. And Beck's like, sure, but, like, you're manipulative. And then Beck, afterwards, like, Amberlynn a few times admitted, like, yes, I know that I can manipulate people, and said it to Destiny, I believe when she thought she was not on live anymore, to Destiny on the phone, saying, like, I know, because Destiny said, you're a manipulative person. You manipulate people into getting what you want. And Amber said, I know that I'm manipulative, but that's due to my mental health. That's due to, like, my disorder. So it's not my fault that I'm manipulative.
Number 7. And finally, she admits that she shouldn't have asked me to drive during the times that I was physically and mentally ill. More on that later. At first glance, it may sound like she admitted to quite a few things, and she did. But she did not take real accountability for them.
Yeah.
She spent the worst part of 3 hours talking about things she went through and only accepting the small things she felt weren't as bad to distract and minimize the impact of the bigger problems at hand. Admitting to vague things like being controlling and manipulative, but not acknowledging that the impact of her being controlling of my time was me not being able to look for a job, save money, or even spend time with my dying mother. Amber continuously denied or straight up ignored the bigger issues or the details that didn't support her explanation for her behaviors.
Yup.
Things Amber denied/ignored. Number 1, she denied still talking about me after the breakup. Number 2, she denied asking me to send her the settlement inheritance money and me sending it to her for bills and other things she paid for. Number 3, she fully denied ever being financially abusive to anyone because of her infamous kindness in general.
Which is crazy. Like, yeah, it's actually so crazy that Amberlynn literally refuses to accept the fact that she was financially abusive to, I mean, multiple people, but I would say the worst to Beck. Like, because it's so obvious. So, like, it's like, I don't know if she just doesn't want to admit it, or, like, she genuinely doesn't think she's done anything wrong. I can't tell which it is, and I can't tell which one's worse.
Generosity. Number 4, denied using a timer even though I said sometimes she did and sometimes she didn't. She only said this to make it sound like I wasn't telling the truth about her tracking the time for things I did. Number 5, she underestimated how much I helped her with her personal hygiene, saying that I only
This says only wiped for 9 months. The fact that that is a sentence in itself for an adult morbidly obese woman is okay. Only brought a bucket twice, only brushed hair once, never free bled. Again, well, is bled just with one E? Am I dumb? Oh, whatever. Again, this wasn't so covered in the salty crab, so I didn't see this part, but we all know you were free bleeding. You kind of admitted it to yourself. You were free bleeding. Like, Amber, I don't think any pad or tampon could be holding the amount of blood. You were having periods for months at a time. And they weren't really periods. Your uterus was just bleeding because you had cancer. But to now deny that you free bled when everyone knows that's what was happening is just so silly. If I was her, I would have just ignored that. I think that's better than just straight up lying about something everyone knows.
Her for 9 months, and that I got her a bucket a couple times and only brushed her hair once. She also denies free bleeding, though I was under the impression she had admitted this before in her videos. But
I believe that she had, I think it came out of her own mouth. I'm not 100% sure, but we all know this happened. And, like, I believe that she even talked about the fact that, like, she would bleed on the mattress. Like, because it was so bad, because her periods were so heavy that sometimes she would sit on the toilet and, like, it would just come out. Like, y'all.
I have no idea which video it could be if she did. Number 6, denies leaving me with only...
She absolutely, totally, 100%, without a doubt, paid me my half of all the live streams I was a part of and definitely didn't leave me with only a little bit to move out with. They should have put sarcasm just in case, or else Amberlynn's gonna take this and be like, see, they admitted it.
A little bit of money for a U-Haul and implies that she did pay me for the live streams.
She did not.
Number 7, she ignores the serious allegations about her behavior towards Libby.
And that's something, like, I'm like, I feel two ways about it. On one hand, I do hope that Destiny really talks about the Libby allegations and, like, their, like, interpretation of what was going on, especially because, again, they're lifelong friends with Libby and, like, Libby's family. But on the other hand, like, I just don't want this girl to, like, be brought into this again. Like, she was a kid when this all was happening. So there's a part of me that just, like, kind of still wants to protect that 15-year-old version of Libby, because I think Libby now is, like, 25. So, I don't know. It's kind of sad.
She ignores the chat asking her about getting physical with Jade.
Yeah, of course.
Number 9. She ignores everything that had to do with feederism and her irresponsible involvement with feeders and making feeder content.
Yep.
Number 10. The last thing I'll mention here is that she gets asked, what is the worst thing she did to me? And she replies with,
the cruelest thing I ever said to Beck? God, I can't remember a lot of what happened, obviously, but let me think of something.
Hey, you guys, this live is for me to take accountability. I want to, like, you know, be a big person, not like that, and just, like, really, like, you know, answer for the things that I've done. I don't really remember what happened. Coolest thing. It's like this, she literally only came prepared to shit on Beck. She came with zero thoughts or anything to take accountability. No, nothing was prepared for her to take accountability. Her entire thought process, her entire preparation for this supposed accountability live stream was evidence to shit on Beck. So we can really see where Amberlynn's mind was with this live stream.
It's not really what I said. It's just, like, what I did. Like, forcing them...
Amber, we have so many videos of you saying vile shit to Beck, but pop off's queen.
To, like, come home quicker and, like, being annoying about it, you know?
It's actually so crazy. Again, if she really believes this, it just shows how mentally ill this woman... I mean, she is mentally ill in general. But really shows how, like, just twisted and, like, non-conventional her mind is in, like, such a dangerous way, that if she truly believes that is the worst thing that she did to Beck, is be annoying and tell them, like, to come home sooner and be annoying about it. That's actually so crazy to me.
Truly believes that is the worst thing she put me through in the past 7 years, then she is more lost and twisted than I ever realized.
Yeah.
Now, as I talk about the screenshots, I need to discuss the journals with you. The journals confused me at first. I barely remember her writing in them the majority of our relationship. She talks about it like she was...
Yeah, because she literally... What Amber does is she types her journals on the computer. Because according to her, she types faster than she writes. Okay. She then goes back months later. She's still working on, like, a few months ago, she talked about how she was still working on journals that she had written on her computer for the Jade breakup. So she takes months to years to go back and write in the things that are on her computer. And I can almost guarantee that she changes things, that she embellishes certain things, she deletes certain things out, that she doesn't want to be in her someone is cleaning their carpet. I was like, what the hell? I thought something was falling. But I'm sure that she, like, the written journals are probably some, like, her ideal version of the things that happened. And I can almost guarantee the things that are in her computer and on her phone are, like, what really happened. But she can just delete it afterwards. You know, she can put her ideal life into these written things because she thinks that she's going to be, like, some, like, you know, not me forgetting the author's name. Oh my gosh, she's, like, one of the most, like, Sylvia Plath or Emily Dickinson. Why was that so hard for me to remember, y'all? But she thinks that she's them and that someone's going to find her journals after she passes away and, like, publish something, and everyone's going to be like, oh my God, she's, like, an undiscovered writer. Like, but that's just not the case. You're not that important and you're not that talented. And you really don't have shit to say. But, like, I truly believe that's what, like, her thought process is in, like, rewriting the journals.
Sitting there reading her journals to me or handing them over whenever she added a new entry. I don't remember ever reading her physical journals. I remember seeing her write down her weigh-ins or goals, and I remember an essay she wrote that she wanted me to read. I also remember her using her journals.
And those, like, things that she would ask Beck to read, it was absolutely a manipulation tactic of, like, I'm gonna, like, write a sob story, and in hopes that you're gonna feel bad for me and do whatever I want. Like it's always been like a way to manipulate people's emotions into feeling bad for Amberlynn, so Amberlynn can continue doing whatever the fuck she wants to whoever the fuck she wants and have, according to Amberlynn, no consequences.
Stickers and scrapbooking. But beyond that, I wasn't just sitting around and reading her journals for fun. I think it's odd that she was using journal entries to prove anything, and even more odd that it was to prove that she would have let me go through her phone according to her, especially when she
Yeah, like it was just like, it was a pointless thing to show. And also Beck like said that, never denied that they read journals, their journals. What Beck said is that they were never allowed to go through Amberlynn's phone because she claimed that she needed privacy because there's private journals on there. So according to Amberlynn, Beck doesn't need privacy, but Amberlynn deserves privacy. But Beck does not deserve privacy. So she can go look at her phone or their phone all she wants, but Beck couldn't do that because Amberlynn deserved privacy. And also, like I said in the first part of the live stream, I don't think Beck was sitting there knocking down anyone's door trying to read Amberlynn's writing. Amberlynn's writing is trash. It is literally a like 6th grade level, and I know at 6th grade there were people that were writing better than Amberlynn does at 34 years old. So like, I don't think anyone's, out here biting the bit to like read a sentence by Amberlynn Reed. Truly, I think it would be the only time I think Beck would probably read Amberlynn's journal is when Amberlynn was like, "Can you read this for me?" Because again, she wanted sympathy. Like, Amberlynn's writing is not good. It's not anything that anyone is willingly gonna want to sit here and read unless they want to make fun of it,
about having 2 phones, and then suddenly had both phones and has kept every single text message and photo ever.
Yeah.
It is interesting that she brought the journals up because it reminded me that she had this online secret private journal on her phone and laptop that she says she had for years, probably back when she knew Casey and Crystal. Yeah. And that was the journal she really never wanted me to see. But obviously I wasn't looking.
Imagine the shit that's in there. Imagine the shit. With Casey and with Destiny, that shit was crazy. Or was it Crystal? Like, all of that. All of that was crazy. Because at that time, Amberlynn, I don't think had any reason to lie. I think now her journals do not show any form of truth. Again, I think they're an idealistic view of what Amberlynn wants her life to look like. How she wants things to have happened or whatever. Like, again, ideally, the idealistic events. However, and I think she thinks that and wants that is because like her audience shows shows a mirror to her all the time, and I think she just has really doubled down on the delusion. I think she's always been delusional, but I think the more and more that she gets hatred and like the more and more she's exposed, the more she doubles down into her delusional way of thinking, and so she's gonna continue to make this false reality. But during the Crystal and like the Casey era, I think while I'm sure at the time still Amberlynn was delusional, I don't think it was to the greatest extent. And I think there was a lot more truth-telling in the journals. Like, I would imagine that there was a lot of quote-unquote tea of Amberlynn doing nasty shit to these 2 people. Yeah, I can only imagine, dude.
To read her journal. I had only asked to go through her phone because of how often she went through mine.
Yeah.
I was like, why can't I go through your messages? Who are you talking to?
Valid.
And she would make excuses for why I couldn't look and just needed to trust her.
Amberlynn's excuses were dumb as hell too. They were like, no, but like, you don't understand, like, and that Amberlynn was talking to a bunch of other people on probably a bunch of different forums.
Eventually, I just didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
Next, let's talk about the mattress and bed bug situation. I brought this up in my last
Is this an actual photo of their bed? Or is this just like a photo from Google? Y'all, I'm scared. I've never had bed bugs. That's something I hope. When I lived in France, I was so scared because it was the bed bug like epidemic in France. Paris was happening while I was living in Paris, and thank God I did not have to deal with that. I got very lucky, but I hope to God I never have to deal with bed bugs. Oh my God.
Something I was going to say to talk about later in a video. So of course she had to get ahead of the narrative.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It wasn't important who said it first. Though I do want to point out this was a first-hand experience.
I also do love that, again, that Amberlynn thinks that if she says it first, then like you know, like, everyone will believe what she says, and then whatever Beck says, like, they won't believe it because Amberlynn said it first. Like, that, I think genuinely that's how simple Amberlynn's mind works. But I just think it's so funny that Amberlynn wants us to think that she's telling the truth. Meanwhile, she also wants us to believe that they were sleeping on the same bed, but for some reason, the bedbugs just didn't bite Amberlynn. That's just not how that works. Like, she lies about the dumbest shit.
From my live stream of my memory being a little wonky. I know it can kind of make some people question my credibility, but I swear I'm not entirely jelly-brained. I may mess some things up, but I remember the big picture. Ming, what happened to the bed frame?
Also, we're gonna skip this part just because we saw it already. But it's just like Beck not remembering that they were talking about the bed frame and the bed bugs. But like, also, sometimes for some people, I haven't had this experience, but I do know it's a thing with some people that when you smoke the devil's lettuce, you can have a little bit of memory issues. For me, it helps my memory quite a bit. But I do know that it can, like, for one of my best friends, he smokes the same amount as I do, and we smoke quite a bit. He definitely has memory loss at times from random things. So I get it. It's not that crazy.
Where you were No, we had bought together. Yeah. And she was moving out. While Amber was living in the townhouse, she had gotten bed bugs. This was after Destiny and her broke up, and we were seeing each other. The bed bugs could have come from the neighbors. They were...
I'm gonna be so fucking real, though. How the hell did Beck get roped into this relationship where Amberlynn looked gnarly as hell? She looked crusty as hell. I'm sorry. Like, I would say, like, Amberlynn looked her worst, even though she was not as big as she is now. She looked her worst one with Destiny. Like, she looked like she never bathed. She always looked sweaty. She always looked unhygienic. I'll say now, like, although Amberlynn does have her moments and has her days, but we all do. I'm having my day right now. She, for the most part, looks semi-clean. Like, she doesn't look that gross. But in the Destiny era, she always looked sweaty and gross and just uncomfortable. And on top of it, Amberlynn had, like, the feces on the bed from the pets, the overflowing litter box, and now bed bugs. And Beck really said, okay, I guess I'll be in a relationship with you. Like, how did you get roped in by this human being?
Horrible at the time, but it was impossible to know. However, Amber let it get bad and pretended not to notice. Yeah. I had bites all over me. I think she probably did too, but maybe didn't want to admit it. I helped her get rid of them, quarantining her clothes and the mattress. And when she eventually moved...
That's crazy that your new partner has to sit there and essentially clean and make sure, like, there's some form of hygiene because you're just unwilling to do it. You would rather play oblivion than take care of, like, your home. And, like, imagine the discomfort of your animals. They're probably being bit too. So, like, she can't even care for other things, let alone herself.
And with Eric, Ricky, and I, she asked me to lie to them for her. At the time, I felt like I didn't have a choice because I didn't want her to be homeless, and she begged me not to tell them. I cared about her, and I knew that if I said anything, they would...
And also, we know that the whole reason that Amberlynn moved in to the home with Eric, Ricky, and Beck wasn't because Beck wanted her to. It's because Amberlynn claimed to look everywhere and they couldn't find a place for 3 pets, so they were forced to go to this apartment. And then to find out that the landlord didn't know, she ended up giving Rarity to Rafe. Then Rafe took care of Rarity. I think then at some point she also gave Wasabi, and then or was planning on giving Wasabi or something like that. And then when the whole debacle happened with Rafe and just going to get Rarity neutered, and Amberlynn threw a whole hissy fit about it, they called the landlord, and the landlord's like, yeah, that's fine. So, like, it was a whole tactic to get Beck in the grasp, like close to Amberlynn. It was a way of control. Like, that was the first step in it.
Couldn't have let her move in. Eventually, I did tell them the truth, though, and Ricky and Amber had a big fight about it. I should have never lied to them for Amber at the time. Now I want to talk about something really serious with you guys. Talking about DV and SA is an incredibly sensitive topic to handle. While I am a victim of Amber's abuse, I am not a victim of either DV or SA by her hands.
Okay, I know that No, I'm pretty sure I used domestic abuse. But if I've used domestic violence, that's a misstep. Because I do know that Amberlynn, and it's good that, like, Beck is giving, like, their point of view. They're saying they weren't domestically abused, or they weren't a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault, which is, I'm very happy to hear. I don't think Amberlynn, I think really the only reason that didn't happen is because Amberlynn was not at the weight where that was possible for Amberlynn to do that. But I am happy to hear that. But if I have used DV, I meant domestic abuse, but I think I might have been interchanging those, and that's my apologies, because that is not the right terminology.
In this live stream, Amber makes outrageous claims against the people she's wronged and ignores others.
Yeah.
She doubles down on her accusations against Casey with no
Casey, the interview. You can watch this whole interview about the situation with Amber and subscribe to him on YouTube if you want to support him.
hesitation because Casey dared to stand up against her. She ignores the allegations of hitting Jade and ignore.
Let's see. I'm trying to look for it. Did you hit Feline? All right, that was the question. Yeah,
Was being inappropriate with Libby. She tries to insinuate that I pressured her into a relationship for sex because I claimed
that was such a disgusting thing for Amber to even attempt to do. Like, and of course, when people bring this up, and she's gonna say, "Oh no, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant, you guys." Just like when she full on blamed Beck for her cancer, and then went, "No, you guys, I didn't mean that. Like, it was my fault. I didn't mean it that like I blame them for my cancer. It's just that like if I was with someone else, I wouldn't have had cancer."
Or that she pressured me into a relationship when I wanted to take it slow.
Right.
She's always turning accusations around and making them her own to point back at people. On the day that I asked Amber to be my girlfriend, we were having a Netflix and chill type of date. I was really into the movie and Amber wanted to make out and cuddle. I told her I didn't want to in that moment because I was into the movie, and this started a fight between us. This was the fight that she essentially told me she had many people lined up who wanted to date her, and if I didn't hurry up, she would find somebody else.
And Amberlynn's admitted that this situation happened like this. She wants to downplay, like, oh, I didn't say it aggressively, but, like, she admitted that this happened. So I don't know now why Amberlynn is attempting to change the narrative. Like, it's just so stupid. And also, we know how Beck is with movies. We know how Beck is with PDA in general, like, with relationships. So, like, I don't understand, like, why Amber really thinks that we're just thinking that, like, that we're gonna believe this, like, just psychotic story.
Did like her at the time, and I didn't want to lose her yet, so then I asked her to be my girlfriend. Looking back on it, it's obvious she just wanted me to make it official as quickly as possible. After we started dating, the financial and economical abuse wasn't far behind.
Okay, economic abuse. Restriction, exploitation, and sabotage. Hopefully they go into it more.
Economic abuse is a form of abuse when one person has control over the victim's access to economic resources, which diminishes the victim's capacity to support themselves and forces them to depend on the perpetrator financially. Amber didn't have her own bank account, and I allowed her to use mine and eventually join it officially. Yeah. Amber had control of the joint account. Amber had control over her own private account. It was all Amber's money. Yep. She used paying for bills and buying food and gifts as leverage to get away with anything. Yeah. This was enough.
And also, if, again, you're putting yourself in the position, you're saying, I want to be the breadwinner. You stay home, be with me, play choosy with me all day long, pick some lint off of me, do YouTube with me. You can't then turn around and huff and puff that you're paying for everything. You put yourself in that position. You wanted that to be the reality. You can't then change it and play the victim in that. That was your choice. That was your doing, Amber.
Mind to justify all the things I did for her and owe her more.
Yeah.
I took care of her because I cared about her and knew she couldn't do a lot of things herself. I cleaned up after her and the pets. I ran errands for her. I took her to appointments and restaurants and anywhere she wanted to go. I made her a huge part of my life and inner circle. I tried my best and did anything she wanted me to do. Meanwhile, she sees the relationship as her being taken advantage of because she paid for things, like paying the down payment on the car that I drove her around in. She bought food because she wanted it, and she paid the bills because she also lived there. Yeah. If I had a job, I would have been contributing. But she used the fact that she could afford it, and she needed me as reasoning for me to not get a job.
And she wanted, like, she used money as a leverage over people's head. She did this with Eric and Ricky and Destiny as well, and Dana. and Dana's niece. Like, it was weird. Like, she did this with a lot of people in her life. She would buy things for people to the point that people, like, didn't want it anymore because it was so, like, it was just so obvious, the reasoning, that it always came with a price, and the price just wasn't worth paying after a while to Amberlynn.
And Amber used her pain for things that I needed to manipulate me into handing over the money for my mom's settlement.
Yep.
She says otherwise, but it was not left in the joint account. All of this to me shows a clear power imbalance in our relationship that just kept growing and growing. On top of being financially controlled, I mentally wasn't in a healthy state of mind for most of our relationship. I was struggling with years of depression, and then when I finally tried to get help, the psychiatrist I was seeing misdiagnosed me and over-medicated me. I was on multiple medications, maybe 4 to 6 at one time. Mood stabilizers, anxiety meds, the combination and switching of medications had me completely out of it.
Dude, they were just like lobotomizing them with medication. That's crazy.
I was bad before, but this was different. I was experiencing a lot of negative side effects, and Amber tried to minimize this by saying it was only 3 months. I don't know exactly when I started taking the medicine.
First off, Amber, it's not your experience to just sit there and minimize it. You didn't go through that hell. You didn't go through being literally catatonic and, like, not in your body. Like, literally being a zombie. You didn't go through that, Amber, so you don't get to minimize it. Just like you want all of us to sit here and, like, play the violin with you and be so sad about your experience, and we can't minimize it because we have no idea, we don't even understand. But you're sitting here minimizing someone else's insane mental health experience. Like, it's so disgusting.
It was the longer part of 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
She also tries to minimize the effects of my kidneys shutting down.
The renal failure was very, very thankfully short-lived. So it was very quick, thankfully, because that was also very, very worrisome.
Again, you don't get to say that. Oh, it was very quick. It was not a quick thing. Beck was in renal failure for months. That's not quick, Amberlynn. And you know what it feels like to be in renal failure? Do you know the effect that has on you as a person to be in renal failure? No, you don't. Because you're not going through it. So you, again, don't get to minimize someone's severe health issues. Because you essentially just don't want Beck to have sympathy from people. To this day.
These two things overlapped, but both had long-lasting effects.
Yeah.
The doctors eventually wanted to do blood work because they were considering putting me on lithium, and that's when they found out that I was going into kidney failure. After more testing, they found it was the metformin causing it, and I was able to recover, but it wasn't quickly. After Amber's cancer scare and hysterectomy, I was the one who took care of her while she was healing.
Yeah.
And yes, I was the one who wiped her. But I wiped her plenty before that. I believe from sometime in 2019 to...
Her diagnosis and surgery and recovery all happened in 2020, I do believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
June 2021, when we broke up. Before I started wiping her, she would use washcloths to wipe. She would set them on the corner of the sink, and then she would turn herself around to wipe herself on it. And then she would throw them away. Our roommate started to...
Y'all, right now I really hate that I'm a visual person because my mind just created that entire scene and I can't unsee it. Y'all, what the fuck, bro? Do you think she does that now? How do you do that? How do you wipe yourself? What's the point of doing that? Are you even getting anything? Did she have to, like, pull her butt cheeks? Was she not wiping her, I don't know. Am I going to get flack for this? Was she wiping her vagina when she peed? Y'all. So I just need to process for a moment. Oh, I really hate that my mind is so visual. My mind is, I can't help it right now. My mind is like creating images, like creating scenes right now. And it's like, I'm gonna need it to stop. Okay, keep talking, Beck.
Noticed that their late mother's washcloths were disappearing.
No!
And they confronted her.
No! Not just someone's washcloths. They're not even your washcloths, but you're using someone's deceased mother. Amber's vile, y'all. Oh, she's a dirty bitch. And she wants us to believe she smelled good. Well, clearly Beck don't give a fuck about exposing shit anymore. Beck's over it. I don't think a year ago we would have heard this.
About it, and she wanted me to lie to them for her, but I didn't. She ended up buying more washcloths for herself, and instead of throwing them away.
Y'all, the stock photo of washcloths is really taking me out right now. I'm smiling because I'm uncomfortable with this situation. What the fuck, Amber? She's never gonna admit to this. But I 100% believe it. I believe, one, Amber is this dumb to think that this is a sufficient way to wipe yourself. But two, she admits to the fact that it was very difficult for her to wipe already. And we can just see her body. Like, we can see her, the length of her arms and her body and where they reach. Like, you ain't reaching down there, Amber. Oh, she's a nasty, nasty bitch.
And she had me wash them in the sink and then put them in the washer.
Girl, she couldn't wash them herself? Amber, you're foul. You're a foul human being. Oh, you're nasty. You're a nasty... I don't even know the words to say. You made your significant other wipe your shit rags, bro? You couldn't do that? You couldn't stand for 5 minutes and do it yourself before you put it in the wash? You're disgusting, dude. Oh, you're Poopy Lynn. Poopy Lynn out here.
Wiping ended up being the
Honestly, put the bitch in a diaper. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna be nice. Put the bitch in a diaper, okay? She can change her own diaper. That shit is nasty.
of two evils at the time. Amber also said that I only brought her a bucket a couple of times. And that is true. It only happened a couple of times. But I did help her get spots she couldn't reach. And in between the bucket baths, she just didn't shower.
So what it was is, it's not that... It is true that Beck only brought the bucket a couple of times because that's the only time Amberlynn was washing. Amberlynn wanted us to believe that, oh no, all the other times she was washing herself. No, you just weren't washing. So the times that Beck did bring the bucket of water for you to wash yourself were the only times that you were washing, Amber. That's nasty. And she wants us to believe that she smells good and that she smelled good during that time. This is why people don't believe you, Amber. Because your entire channel, you've been trying to convince everyone that you just smell like daisies and roses. And we know now that wasn't the smell.
Didn't only brush her hair once either. It needed to be brushed every few months. I'm only saying all of this now because she does not live in the same reality. I'm hoping maybe this will be enough to finally reach her.
I definitely don't think she's living to the extent that she was with Beck. I think part of it because Amberlynn wanted to humiliate Beck into doing these things. But part of it is because Amberlynn was really big at that point and like very immobile. Like I do think she was over... I think she was 600 pounds. I think she was in the 600s at her heaviest. But I do still think she's struggling with all these things. I think her mom probably helps her a lot more than she wants us to realize. I think she's probably coming up with creative ways to keep herself more hygienic. Y'all.
She and some others don't realize that you don't wipe someone and groom someone that you don't care for.
Yeah.
I didn't do those things for money. I did them to help her be more comfortable.
I mean, let's be so real. You gotta really care about a person to subject yourself to that stuff. Like, no one's out here wiping ass and cleaning shit rags for the fun of it, okay? Like, you really got to be caring about someone to do that. And, of course, Amberlynn doesn't want that to be the narrative. It's just, oh, well, Beck's they just wanted to use me for money. No, Amber, this does not give someone that was using you for money. This is giving someone that got caught up in an abusive relationship and really cared about you as a person and wanted to help you.
Protect her dignity as much as I could.
Yeah.
I lied for her and defended her and kept her alive. Now she shows her respect and gratitude for me by talking badly about me repeatedly. Even in the chaos of everything she said, she still had time to read chats saying we both had hygiene issues and saying that she did gross things for me too. Me not showering for a couple extra days because I was depressed and you popping my pimples are not...
Sometimes embarrassing places like my butt are helping me with reoccurring MS in my thighs. Like popping pimples on their butt or with reoccurring MS in my thighs. I don't know. Like, not multiple sclerosis. What else? MS. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's not the same, Amber. That's really not the same as cleaning your shit rags. I'm so sorry to break it to you.
The same as me wiping you and cleaning your ankles.
Right.
Amber doesn't want to...
Cleaning your ankles, Amber! Amber! I mean, we do know she got the morbidly obese ankles where they go over. Like, it's just like, I can imagine the fold is not nice. Ugh, y'all.
Say that she is an abuser. I am saying that. She wants to claim this diagnosis and that diagnosis, but the diagnosis doesn't matter. Her self-awareness is non-existent.
Nope.
Everyone has noticed that she takes zero accountability or responsibility when in private. She will beg and barter and manipulate until everyone sees it the way that she sees it. She can't do all of that publicly, and no abuser...
Beck don't give a fuck no more. Oh, I love it. Beck is gone from the grasps of Amberlynn.
Wants their abuse to be aired out. Amber, I just wanted you to finally take some accountability for the shit you've done.
Wait, I love this angry face of Beck. Pop off, queen. And I mean that in a non-binary way. I'd be calling everyone queen.
If I really wanted to humiliate and embarrass you, I would have just done this years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to hold you accountable is publicly. Bringing awareness to the abuse and having your audience see between the cracks. Your public live stream wasn't about an apology or healing. It wasn't about breaking your silence. It was about silencing others, especially me. You did not take this seriously. It is inappropriate to laugh when you are talking about other people's trauma, especially when you're the one who caused it. I can laugh about my trauma with friends, but making fun of what your victims have experienced is insensitive and weird. You are trying to convince...
It's weird as hell, and let's call that out. Amberlynn loves to call everyone else weird. Amber, you're weird as hell. You literally are one of the weirdest motherfuckers I've ever seen on YouTube, or in general.
Everyone that I did just as much to you as you've done to me.
No.
And since you don't feel abused by me, then I should not feel abused by you. But the difference is, I do feel abused by you, Amber. Because
and the difference is, everyone saw the abuse of Beck. Everyone saw it for exactly what it was. When we look at Beck to Amberlynn, people don't see abuse. People see a person that did shit that they shouldn't have done, that were pushed their limits, and probably said things that they shouldn't have done as well. But people don't see an abusive person. When we look at Amberlynn, we see an abusive person. You have channels who don't ever talk about Amberlynn, ever, who are making videos, like huge, like documentary style videos talking about the fact that Amberlynn is an abuser. This is not just a girl world thing. This is reached out to like just general, like bigger YouTubers that are just like seeing this person for who they are. And Amberlynn is, again, pissed off that she can't continue to create the narrative that she so desires and that she sees in her head. The delusion that she sees in her head.
To me, and you've abused other girlfriends in the past too.
Yep.
Name the worst thing I did to you. Tell me what it is so I can take accountability for it.
And you know what? You know Amberlynn, if someone asked that, Amberlynn would have had an answer right like that. But of course, Amberlynn couldn't think of anything they did to Beck. I don't know, you guys. Maybe like be annoying to them. Crazy.
So bad. Because all you've said about me is that I'm a liar and use you for money.
Right.
Just because
and
you
to
feel
be
attacked.
honest, if that was the worst, like, yeah, that's shit. That is shitty. You're like, that's not a good look. But that's minuscule to the things that Amberlynn has done to Beck. So like, honestly, okay, even if those things were true, it's, you don't come out looking better, Amberlynn. And if anything, it just shows that there's two shitty people. It doesn't take away from your culpability in the actions you did.
By my perspective, doesn't make it a lie. And I wouldn't have dealt with so much if I was only with you for the money. And still to this day, you have the audacity to say that the worst thing you've put me through was forcing me to spend time with you.
Right.
It is laughable if it wasn't so sad. The funny part is you are kind of right. Forcing me to spend all my time with you kept me from my mom while she was dying.
Oh.
These were the darkest moments of my life.
Oh, no.
I look back.
Okay. Messages between my sister and my mom. Norma Jean Collins, that was Beck's mom who has passed away. We're going to bring up the screen a little bit. It says, Becky FaceTimed me, and guess what? She isn't staying the night with me. Sorry, her mom is using she pronouns at this point. I'm going to make sure I change them to they. Sorry for that mistake. I'm just so upset, and it breaks my heart that they are a slave to Amberlynn and her control them. Tears streaming. Why does Beck let Amberlynn own them? They are choosing Amberlynn over their own mommy. I'm just broken. I miss Beck and want to spend time with them. Beck is brainwashed. I am going to need them when we start packing. A bunch of sad emojis. Then the sister responds, they are acting funny towards me too. Then then the sister goes, hello. Beck's mom says, it's where you were saying Amber has changed and Anne feels like that made her out to be a liar. Anne has cried her eyes out. It hurts her feelings. I myself don't think Amber has changed. She is putting on a show, trying to make her look good / innocent to her audience. I believe with all my heart, Amber mentally abuses Beck, and I hate that. Y'all, this is so sad. Well, I don't know what to do. Amber has been good to me recently, and she has changed in...
Back on them now and wish I could slap myself awake from a nightmare. I don't know why I let her control me so much. I wish I would have just run away and told her no. I have so many regrets from that time, but she knew what she was doing. She knew she was manipulating.
Oh, more, okay. Okay, this is a continuation. Well, I don't know what to do. Amberlynn has been good to me recently and has changed in front of me. That's what I'm trying to tell everyone. The Amberlynn that you know is on YouTube, that's a different persona, a personality, but we are getting along. I don't mean to make it out like I was saying she was lying. Good grief. I can't win. Y'all do whatever, but it's always over Amberlynn. I mean, here's the thing, dude. Like, people are pointing this out because their child is sitting here being abused by this person. People are being affected personally by this person, you know? And, like, of course, Amberlynn's gonna start cozying up to the sister because it's, once again, a way to control Beck. It's a way to, like, essentially mitigate and normalize the, like, abusive behavior that Amberlynn was putting onto Beck, you know? Showing, like, oh, see, like, I'm not bad because, like, your sister is my friend. And, of course, it's, like, also a way to control the narrative and control, like, the way that Amberlynn is being viewed. And this was a time where Amberlynn was getting a lot of hate. Like, obviously, she gets a lot of hate now, but, like, I think it was probably at its highest point during the Beck era because of all of the shit she was doing so blatantly. And so, like, of course she wants to change the narrative and change the way people view her, you know? Like, it's just gross. I can't handle this drama anymore. I'm about to stress myself into a heart attack, no joke. I didn't mean it the way she took it. I don't know what else to say except I'm sorry. I don't know, Misty. Time always tells all. Something isn't, I'm guessing it says right. I feel it in my heart. Beck is in bad shape. Beck is in bad shape, and this was before all this happened. I worry so much about Beck. Oh my God, this is so sad that, like, to hear a mom say this about their child and, like, feel like they don't have anything they can do. And, like, also seeing, like, their other child be brainwashed too by this same abuser that, like, their one child is, like, full on being abused by. This is really sad. They go talk to them, put them into a rehab or mental resort. I just don't know how to get her to tell the truth. I don't know if they were talking about Amber or Beck, so yeah, I'm not sure which pronouns to use there. But either way, like, I'm kind of annoyed. Like, I get, like, Amber was probably, like, manipulating the fuck out of Misty at this point. But it's also just, like, annoying because, like, it's very obvious, like, Beck was, like, not okay. And, like, Beck's mom was trying to, like, say that she's worried for her child, and, like, she doesn't know what to do for her child, and, like, Misty's, like, being dramatic and kind of like a bitch, to be honest. Sorry, Beck, but you said it was kind of being a bitch.
Into isolating myself from my own family.
Yep.
Begging me to spend time with her instead of my mom, causing rifts between us in the very little time I had left with her. I hate that because of Amber and her hold on me, I wasn't there for my mom the way I wanted to be. I hate that I don't remember our last Christmas together. I hate that she cried for me when she was losing so much. Abuse changes people. It can turn you into someone completely.
Dude, Beck looks so good. Okay, Beck. Oh. I'm really happy for Beck. They look so much better. Oh my gosh. And they've lost a lot of weight. Good for them. I also like this haircut.
And recognizable. It could take years for you to find yourself again and to make sense of what was even happening. To those of you who haven't experienced something like this before, I hope that you can see this as a tale of caution. And if you have experienced something like this similarly, then
y'all, I'm being so dead ass. Like, I'm getting like goosebumps and like teary eyed. Like, as a person that has gone through something similar, like, it really, like, I'm really proud to see Beck standing on their two legs, strong and like confident, and not letting this abuser continue to like scare them into submission. Like, it really, y'all, I really do have goosebumps.
I hope this helps you feel less alone.
Yeah.
I hope that my mom is out there watching and seeing the changes I've made and is feeling peace knowing that I am safe, happy, and loved. I hope that she is proud of me for sticking up for myself and for speaking out against Amber.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will...
Girl, boy, they, them, sorry. I call also everyone girl. Like, I call all my guy friends girl too. Okay, Beck, I can guarantee your mom would be very happy to see this, and it would be very proud to see where you are now.
See you when I see you.
Bye! Ugh, y'all, that was a good video. I won't be able to erase the the washcloth from my head anytime soon, but that was a really good video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't really have much to add. I think Beck said it all at this point. But if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!